In this video, I'm going to introduce you to what is now my favorite Magic the Gathering format, and I'll cut right to the chase and tell you what it is right up front. It's Pauper Commander, which is like EDH in that your deck must be 99 singleton cards plus a commander, but only cards that have been printed at common can be in your 99, and your commander doesn't have to be legendary, it just has to be an uncommon creature. Like EDH, there's a 1v1 variant, but the majority of games are played in groups of 4. The starting life total is 30, and 16 commander damage is lethal. The ban list only has 2 cards, Mystic Remora and Rhystic Study. I've played Modern, Legacy, EDH, and CEDH. In fact, I still have multiple decks that I keep updated worth thousands of dollars, so I'm definitely willing to pay for cards if it's a better play experience, but it isn't. Restricting decks to commons levels the playing field so that you're fighting your opponent's skills, not their wallets. To get a top-end competitive Pauper Commander deck, the absolute maximum you're going to pay is $150, but it's pretty easy to find much cheaper decks if you're on a budget. My average deck costs about $80, but I play Snow Basics, which pushes up the price. It can also be completely free to play if you have a computer though. I recently played in the quarterly online Sanctuary tournament for cash prizes against opponents using Moxfield's playtest feature and OBS, another free program. As someone who enjoys tournaments, seeing that there are proxy and digital-friendly tournaments really encourages me to keep brewing, practicing, and promoting this format. The price makes it inclusive, and I feel like gameplay is actually enhanced by the rarity restriction. Because of that, the format has actually been gaining popularity over time. If you're concerned that it won't feel like you're doing something as powerful, just know that in the finals of the November 2023 Sanctuary tournament that Gatorbait TV won on turn 3 through a daze, outside of quick combo kills and competitive, the lower life totals give aggro and damage-based strategies more of a chance. The lower life totals also help keep games a reasonable length, ending around turn 9 or 10 on average. I mentioned earlier that I think gameplay is enhanced from the restriction of being commons only, and I think that goes beyond price. In EDH, a single card can refill your entire hand, or wipe the board. I think it's more fun when you have to work for those things. Having weaker draw engines rewards incremental card advantage in 2-for-1s, and board wipes at common usually only deal 2 damage to all creatures, so you have to work to get them to go beyond that, and it gives go-wide strategies more counterplay. The combos and engines also tend to be on creatures more often, and take more pieces to set up, so they're easier to interrupt, and slower to come together. I think the Commander's biggest reason for success is the diversity of decks, which is made possible by having something in the command zone, and Pauper Commander has even more commanders than EDH. Because there are so many commanders, I want to give you some resources. PDH Rec will give you the most popular commanders, like EDH Rec does for EDH, and the most popular cards that go in those decks. You can also search by color and see the most popular cards. It just pulls information from Moxfield. cpdh.guide is another great place to find commanders, but it's focused on the competitive meta, so it pulls information from reported games and includes data on length of games. It also shows how commanders are performing. Now you may have to ask what the dividing line is between competitive and casual in Pauper Commander, because the prices in Pauper Commander are pretty low across the board, so there isn't the natural dividing line between expensive competitive decks and cheap casual decks. In Pauper Commander, I found that the choice in Commander is one of the best indicators for this. Once you have your Commander, I would recommend using Moxfield as your deck building platform. You can find other players' decks with the same Commander by going to Advanced, changing the format to Pauper EDH, and adding your Commander. Just make sure to click on the name when it comes up. I prefer to search by most views. You can also use the playtest feature, which I referenced earlier as a free way to play that's being accepted in online tournaments. If you download OBS, which is open source so that it's safe, there's a button that says Start Virtual Camera. If you then find a game and start Spell Table, which is run by Wizards of the Coast, you can select the virtual camera as a video source, so it's just a matter of adding squares in OBS to cover up things like your hand and the card display. I prefer to use a webcam and real cards though. It's more costly, but I prefer to touch my cards. I use a Razer Kiyo Pro. I used to use a cheaper 720p webcam because I thought that it didn't matter, because Spell Table squishes your video anyway, but it turns out that you get what you pay for. I never use the ring light, but it seems to just focus better. To hold my webcam, I bought a $30 KDD webcam stand. Links to this stuff is in the description. This is not an ad, it's just what I bought. Now that you have a setup, you'll need to find a game. My favorite servers to find games are the Common Connoisseurs for competitive games because they have the most people, but the PDH homebase is great for everything else, including casual and 1v1, but also has competitive. Sanctuary PDH is another great place to find competitive games, and there are many other places to find games associated with YouTube channels and podcasts. You could also just play in person if you have the confidence to leave your house and you're fortunate enough to have real friends. I often see people ask how they can convince their friends to play too. My best advice is to just bite the bullet and buy everybody decks. Just give them away. If you're looking for more information about this format, check out the rest of my channel. I have other discussion videos like this, as well as edited and narrated gameplay videos. I use all of my Patreon money, plus some out of my own pocket to run this channel and promote this format. Please consider giving this video a like and subscribe for more Pauper Commander content. If you'd like to support what I'm doing here more directly, I'd love it if you became a patron. Patreon shoutout to Achu and Bill, Too Much Do. Thank you. Leave the commander of your first PDH deck down in the comments, and thank you for watching until the end.